Hi, everyone. This is Gwen Peterson, and I'm here with Tracy Reinhardt on a longer video today on how to navigate these holiday events. We're going to specifically talk about Thanksgiving. And as you know, Tracy lost 137 pounds and has kept it off for a year. I've lost 62 pounds and kept it off for over 9 months. And we both were in the weight loss phase last Thanksgiving. So we're going to give you 3 different options because as coaches, we joke, we are not the food police. We want to educate you on options. So we're going to give you number 1, the option of what staying the course looks like and what it looked like for Tracy and me last year. Then second is kind of what you can do in a maintenance phase, or even if you are in the weight loss phase, but don't want to go off the rails, but you know you're not going to stick 100% to what a lean and green would look like. And then the third is going to be the off the rails option and what we would say to do on the navigating. So for instance, on option number 1, Tracy and me last year in the complete weight loss phase. So as we know, it doesn't matter whether you're doing option 1, 2, or 3. You still eat on track, balanced every 3 hours. So of course I was like clockwork. I know like Tracy was eating perfectly balanced going into that Thanksgiving meal. And I even brought bars with me because we normally go over there around noon. And for them, they, will have a bunch of hors d'oeuvres. And so for me, and I forgot as Tracy and I are putting these together, they have all sorts of hors d'oeuvres. Guess what hors d'oeuvre works for me? Is the shrimp, which is what I normally bring. I forgot that I even bring that normally. But then the cocktail sauce, oh my heavens, I didn't even ever look at the cocktail bottle until I had to bring it. So needless to say, I would barely dip it in there just to have a little flavor to it. And I ate the shrimp because nobody notices if you have a plate of food that you're not eating all the stuff. They notice if you don't have a plate of food and you're eating a bar, or you run in the bathroom and eat a bar, right? So Tracy, that's what I did. If we kind of break down the meal, let's kind of break it down in pieces. So if you're on track in the weight loss phase, that's what I did. Was I ended up kind of doing a 4 and 2, because like the shrimp became like the second protein. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I had a plate and nobody was thinking twice. What did you do? Did you guys have hors d'oeuvres last year? And what did you do with that?
We did not have hors d'oeuvres. We just kind of went into the meal, and I had, my 6 ounces of turkey, and I had green beans, my 3 half servings of 3 half cups servings of green beans. And then and it was filling already, but then I was really looking forward to this. It's called kabocha cheesecake, which is like a kind of a different kind of pumpkin pie, and you literally can eat a quarter of the pie with a little bit of whipped cream. I was so full after that, and that was a lot of food for me because I was still on program. But I was able to walk away from that weekend, still losing 2 pounds. That was staying on program, and I felt like I wasn't being deprived at all. And of course, immediately 3 hours later, I went back into the regular eating at the bars and the shakes and all that kind of stuff. Just, kicked it right back into the regular program.
Perfect. Okay. By the way, 7 ounces of turkey, 6 ounces of chicken. You meant 7, right? But that's okay. So okay. 7 ounces turkeys in that 7 ounce. But so for me, side note, because they do at my in-laws, they have the turkey, and 7 ounces of turkey is so much, right? And then they have the green bean casserole. So I kind of just like scrape off the casserole a little, but I don't love green beans anyway. But then, there's a little fat in there. And then the salad dressing that they use, I knew what dressing they were going to use for the green salad. So that also had the fat. So that gave me my 2 servings of fat with that 7 ounces of turkey, right? So, so with that, I just did that. And then and then for dessert, I went on the Optavia page, and I ended up going and finding this little recipe where you make this cream cheese thingy with a fueling and all that. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And those of you guys that know me, I don't like the effort of all those like hacks, but I was like, this is a special time. I'm going to buy the little thingy and all. Oh my gosh. So I haul that in there. It did not taste very good. I was very disappointed. I wish I just stuck with the brownie bake, right? So basically for me, that was what I did. I just did the turkey, I did some of the green beans, I did some of the salad. And again, it comes back to that whole thing of, if you don't have a full plate, people start going, what are you doing? But my plate was massive with that, all that turkey, the green beans, the salad, and all of that. Nobody even skipped a beat on what I was doing. They did see that I brought that, but I was already down over 40 pounds. So nobody really even questioned that, that I was eating some weird, I mean, it actually looked good. It just didn't taste that great.
I was going to also say that I actually used like one of the smashed potatoes also as part of my fueling in on the dish as well. And I think the reason I said 6 ounces is because I was kind of balancing from the kabocha, which is actually 3/4 lean and 1 vegetable on that kabocha pie. So I was kind of, doing my math a little bit. So yeah.
Good job. Okay. So, and speaking of, I'm sure that everybody watching this is going to be like, what's that kombucha pie? So we'll have you give me the link, and I'll put it in the bottom of this video so that people have access to that recipe. And I'm not going to give you the recipe to the thing that I didn't love. Go scroll Optavia's page and find one that you might think, but I don't know. Like, I guess it was just, I'm simple. It just wasn't, anyway, I think it's too much effort. So that's what it can look like. And like Tracy said, then you go home, you still eat a fueling within 2 hours of going to bed. And might have been a lean and green that was bigger than normal, but did you go shoot your carbs through the roof? No, you stayed the course and it worked, right? And here's the little tip I would say is I started coaching 9 years ago, and my mom was my third client because she watched me doing this and was like, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it. And she started the Monday of Thanksgiving. And she said, because I remember, because back then I was in the diet mentality. I hadn't done the workbook. I didn't even know the life book and Habits of Health book even existed. And I remember thinking, what's she thinking? And my mom goes, Gwen, I've had 70 Thanksgivings in my life and I've not eaten good. One meal is not going to make or break me emotionally, but one meal could make or break my health, because I know if I have one bite of that and I'm only in my first week and I don't have any tools in my toolbox and mentally, it's going to derail me. So my mom did a perfect lean and green on Thanksgiving, and my mom ended up pulling off 60 pounds in 6 months. 9 years ago, and has kept it off. And she's now 79 and in great health, right? So if you choose to do it, you choose to do it, right? So that's what weight loss phase can look like, right? Now, let's talk about what Tracy and I are going to do this year, because we're both not in the weight loss phase anymore, but we also know how to choose healthy choices. So we never go off the rails, right? Like, I went to Mexico this last week or 2 weeks ago, and I didn't eat perfect, but I didn't go off the rails every single minute just because I could. That's not what you do, because it doesn't matter whether you do Weight Watchers or Atkins or keto or intermittent fasting. If you go off the rails, you're going to gain weight back on those too. That's not a long-term healthy lifestyle, right? So for Tracy and I, we've learned how to eat healthy and balanced. And so we have the ability, because we now get to eat more calories. We now know how to balance our carbs and proteins correctly, that we are going to partake in some of these extra things, but we don't go off the rails, because I know how horrible I feel after, and I don't want to feel like that, right? So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and then Tracy will tell you what hers is going to look like in maintenance. Or there have been years that this is what I did too. So I didn't do perfect lean and green, but I didn't go off the rails either. So hopefully this might help you guys. If those of you that are going, I just can't stick to program, and your only other option is to go off the rails, hopefully you can kind of listen to what we're talking about and do this. So first of all, like I mentioned, we do a lot of hors d'oeuvres, okay? And there is a recipe my mother-in-law makes. It's from this gal that's a professional chef, and it's this delightful artichoke dip, okay? So now artichokes are not on our list because they are higher in carbs, but it does have a lot of cheese and cream cheese and jalapenos. It's delightful, right? So I'm guessing if I plugged it into my Fitness Pal, it might actually be balanced between all the protein from the cheese and the fat and the artichokes, because the only carbs are coming from the artichokes and the seasonings and stuff. But so for me though, in the past, when I didn't know what I didn't know, or I couldn't control what I know now, is that dip was with chips and wheat thins. Wheat thins are one of my favorite things, right? So there's that. And like I said, there's the shrimp, there's the chips and salsa from Chile. They have all this thing, right? Also, I know that those hors d'oeuvres go for like 3 hours, right? So if you're like me and you're a picker, once you start going, you're toast. So I'm also going to bring this year, I volunteered last night and I don't care if they aren't interested because they'll eat it. It's so good. Pampered Chef has a spinach cheese ball that literally is on plan. I don't know the numbers of it. I would have to do the math of it. But again, this example is not staying on plan. It's not shooting your carbs through the roof. Yes, you might eat more calories, but again, it's better than way through the roof carbs. So it has feta cheese, which is on the vegetarian list, cream cheese, vegetarian list. Then it has spinach on the vegetable list. And then it has garlic. And then it has this little ring of red peppers. That's it. Those are all items in our vegetarian guide and our vegetable guide. It's just a Pampered Chef thing. I looked it up on Pinterest last night. But again, this artichoke dip and that cheese ball thing would normally be chips and wheat thins, my nemesis. So I will be bringing with me a Ziploc bag of celery sticks and cucumbers to be able to eat those. And I now can't eat a whole bunch of it anyway because my stomach is there, right? But so that'll be kind of my first 3 hours, but all of it is really on our lean and green list for the most part. It's just I'm going to not be pounding it. And then the meal. Here's my take. Let's let Tracy tell you what she's doing. So for me, I always pound the protein first. So I just load up my plate with a bunch of turkey. I don't weigh it out when I'm out and about. I just do my best. And then I probably won't even do the green beans because I just don't love them. And I'll do the salad, the green salad. And then I will end up doing a spoonful of the yams, which used to be a bowl full till I was sick. Like I'd be breathing through the bites because it was so full of butter and brown sugar. But I hate how I feel after that. So it will be the serving spoon, right? And I'm going to go over to the mashed potatoes. Boom, right there. I'll do that. And then the stuffing, a spoonful. And I'm talking the tablespoon. I don't want to eat it. I just want to taste it, right? And if I've already been doing those appetizers and then I eat all this turkey, I already kind of don't feel good with all that protein in me anyway. So why would you go do the massive big spoonfuls and then a roll? I will normally open it up, put a little butter on it and have half because I still want to eat it. I just don't want a whole bunch of it. And I normally will literally rip it up in half and put the other half on one of my kids' plates and they eat it, right? That's what my meal will look like in maintenance is tiny little spoonfuls of each thing. So I still get to taste it. But because I pounded the protein before, I don't have room for it anyway. And if I do, I'd be breathing through it and feeling awful. So that's my game plan for next Thursday. Tracy, what are you going to do knowing that you're not trying to lose weight, but you don't go off the rails anymore? Because that's not what you do when you're healthy. And we've learned how to not do that anymore.
Right. I love of course, this will be my first Thanksgiving maneuvering through with the maintenance and ongoing, but I love your idea of just taking little spoonfuls of everything and tasting stuff. And, one bite, there might be 2 bites there, but I might just take 1 bite and push the rest away, just knowing that I've been able to try that. I'm really going to focus on having a lot more of the protein and the vegetables because that's my choice. But, it won't hurt me to go ahead and taste some of these other things that'll be made. And I may even enjoy a regular piece of pumpkin pie. It may not be a quarter size pie like I had last year with the kabocha pie, but a sliver just to taste it and then move on.
Right.
And then of course, immediately 3 hours after, I'm going to go right back into my snack of a bar or a small apple and a stick of string cheese. I'm going to continue eating 6 times a day. I'm just not, I can remember we used to just not eat anything all day long and look forward to the 1 meal a day. And then we would gorge ourselves. That's not going to happen ever again.
Nope. Exactly. And you're right. For me, it was my sister-in-law loves, and I love it too. We call it putting in a crust from Marie Callender's. It's like chocolate pudding with whipped cream. Oh, it's so good. And then the pumpkin pie from Costco, I love. And so for me, I would do a huge piece of both after I eaten all this food. I mean, I don't even know the amount of calories I put in. Luckily, now my stomach can't even do that anymore, but I will be doing a really small piece of both of those because I can, but I'm not going to eat a bunch of it, right? But what's funny is, I don't know about you guys, but think about your kids. Most of your kids have bigger eyes than their stomachs after a big day like that. So they end up not eating their full pieces of pie anyway. And again, I bet you money, the little piece of each pie that I would have will be probably about the same amount that's left on their plates. So instead of me going and getting my own pieces, I could just wait and see what they end up not being able to shove down and just finishing the last 3 bites of each piece of pie. And now that's all I really wanted anyway. So that's kind of how my brain works. And like you said, Tracy, then I'll go home. Still, even if you're full, you still need to eat every 3 hours because protein only lasts 3 hours in your body. And if you're letting your blood sugar drop before going to bed, when you wake up, you're going to be hungry. And we know because you ate more calories than normal anyway, you're going to be more hungry the next day. So sometimes I tell clients if they're eating extra carbs like that and they're not staying on track, but not going off the rails, maybe the next day do a 4 and 2 to just ramp back into the 5 and 1 because you know you're going to be hungry the next day, right? So for me, like you said, Tracy, I don't know if I would do my brownie bake is kind of my go-to. Lately, it's been the pudding. I don't and side note that Target has whipped cream that is like maple sugar flavor or pumpkin pie flavor that's 1 carb. Oh
Wow.
my gosh, right? It's delightful. So that's kind of going on there. Or my go-to before bed, like you said, is an apple with some cheese sticks, some cheese to balance out the apple. Mine is I've been doing a Too Good yogurt with a little bit of granola, and that's my balanced before bed thing a lot. So that's kind of what that looks like in maintenance. So throw some comments below of if this makes sense for you, even if you're in the weight loss phase, how to not feel deprived, but how you can give yourself little pieces of stuff without totally going off the rails. So would love to hear people's thoughts on what maintenance looks like, or if this might be your option. Is that option number 2? Now, option number 3, we've all been there. You don't even know what Optavia or nutrition is, right? And you are breathing through every bite. That's what life can be. You get to choose what it is. But what I can tell you is if you still eat balanced every 3 hours going into that meal, and you still eat that brownie bake before bed, you may have shot through the roof 4,000 calories, but you still want to stabilize that blood sugar with a fueling. And literally, as I say, you didn't go off, you chose to go off the rails. If you chose it, you chose it. It's okay. You're choosing that, but also choose that you're compartmentalizing it in a 3 to 5 hour window, and you put it in the rear view. You eat the fueling before bed, and the next day you go right back because Thanksgiving is a Thursday. If you do what I've done in the past, Thursday became Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, by Monday, I'd probably eaten 15,000 calories because of 1 meal. Right. Tracy, would you say that's how you would navigate if you choose to go off the rails? That's how
Absolutely. And you know what? Don't forget about a very important part of this, and that's drinking the water. Keep the water, keep hydrated, keep flushing your system out because that's going to help.
That's going to help. Exactly. And you're right, Tracy. I do love how you mentioned earlier that if you're trying to pay attention to what you're eating, even if you went off the rails 100%, but you made sure that you drank a full glass of water before going into the hors d'oeuvres, a full glass of water before eating whatever you put on your plate, and another full glass of water before eating the desserts, naturally you won't be able to fit in what you would have fit in either. So let that water fill your gut and go from there, right? So Tracy, any last words of advice for people watching?
Just enjoy the day, enjoy the people that you're around with. It's not really about, even though the food is a nice accent to the holiday, really, we're there for the family and the friends, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose of these holidays in the first place. So just enjoy that and not always just focus on the food.
I agree. I agree. And I find the life book, I don't have it right here, it's in my office. Write down your plan and
Yeah.
text it to your coach, because if you put a plan together, even if you don't stick with the plan 100%, you've already made a plan. So I guarantee if you put a plan together, you're going to do far better than you would have if you hadn't even put a plan together, right? So just remember, your coach may do option 1, 2, or 3. They're human and they get to choose what that meal with their family looks like. So don't feel like we're the food police. Put a plan together. But I guarantee if you said to your coach, I'm planning to go off the rails and I'll see you on Monday, the coach is going to be like, don't, that's not health, right? So start your morning with the mental component, flip on an Optavia podcast, right? And I do know that Monday night's call, the one before Thanksgiving, is going to be all about this. I actually am one of the speakers. So
Awesome.
use the tools, guys, plan it out. Be intentional. That's what being healthy is all about, is being intentional versus letting things happen to you. You are choosing what you want to happen for you. So everybody, comment below if you stuck with us through this whole thing, and let us know your thoughts and what your game plan is for the holidays. So talk to you guys soon. Bye,
Happy
guys.
Thanksgiving.